I tried 3 of the leading meal prep companies in the industry, so you don't have to. Here are the results. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down my personal reviews, mind you, personal opinions of 3 different meal prep companies. I'm going to be talking through a couple of different facets and features and the ranking system that I made up myself to determine what is objectively the best, or I guess subjectively the best. So we've got 3 companies here: Factor Meals, Nutrition Solutions Meal Prep, and Trifecta Meals. I chose these because they're 3 of the most prominent in the space and the ones that you see the most of, most likely on your Instagram or Facebook ads. I'm going to be covering the taste test review that I did, the ordering process, talking a little bit about what that looks like and what you can expect from each of these companies, the delivery style, some of the pros and cons of each, and what stood out to me about the meals themselves. Packaging and delivery is kind of the same across the board, or at least very similar for all 3. They actually all arrive in the same type of box. They arrive fresh, never frozen, which is a great sign for all 3. They all get a gold star on that one for not being frozen meals. They are ready with a quick microwave. The box packaging is a little bit different. With the Trifecta Meals and the Nutrition Solutions, they appear to almost have the same manufacturer for their to-go containers, and they are both vacuum sealed for freshness and quality. Factor is a little bit different. So you get them in this sleeve and they come out and sort of look like what you'd get on an international flight. They don't exactly look sexy, but they do the job. The heating process is the same for Trifecta and Nutrition Solutions. You just pop them in the microwave and they're ready in 90 seconds. These you have to poke a hole in, and they kind of look like an upgraded Stouffer's meal to me. What I didn't like about the delivery of the meals for Factor specifically was that only the top meal has the name of the meal plain as day put right there. This is jalapeno cheddar chicken, and then they just don't put it on the other boxes. It's on the back, it's just in tiny text. Subtle detail that kind of annoyed the hell out of me. I don't know whose decision that was, but I'm not a fan of it. All right, let's get into the taste test. I tried 3 meals from each of the companies, and I'm gonna talk about them, and the reviews might surprise you. So I have my handy dandy handwritten notes because I'm a boomer at heart, and this was easy for me to keep track of. I'll put the pictures of the meals on the screen so you can see what they look like and know how I graded them, at least from a visual perspective. So the scale that I used is pretty simple and straightforward. I thought of what I value the most in a meal prep service, and I graded those on a scale of 1 to 5. So we have taste, of course, it has to taste good, duh. Macros, mainly focusing on protein. Are these meals protein centric, but are they also balanced? Are you getting enough fat? Are you getting enough carbohydrates to support your performance? And of course the fat for hormone health and satiety. The appearance of the meals, so do they look good? That's also important. It can't look like crap or I'm not going to want to eat it. The quality and ingredients, which I'm sort of combining right here on the fly into one ranking. I have them as 2 separate rankings, but for me, quality is simple. Are they using minimal ingredients in their meals? And if they aren't, if they're using a laundry list of ingredients and eights and ites and preservatives that I don't really know how to say. I'm not saying those are poison or they're going to kill you, but for me personally, I'm particular about what I put in my body, and that is important to me. And then an overall ranking of variety of the meals and the cost of the meals, which we'll get into at the end of the video. So let's start with Nutrition Solutions. The first meal we tried from Nutrition Solutions was the peach habanero filet mignon with a cabbage slaw and a beet infused rice. It clocked in at 428 calories with 28 grams of protein, 30 grams of carbs, and 21 grams of fat. So I'll put this meal on the screen right now so you can see what it looks like visually, colorful and diverse. I've never had a peach habanero filet mignon, and I actually don't have any more because I ate all of them and they were delicious. 4 out of 5. I enjoyed the acidity that the peach brought to the steak. It was very nice, and the rice was soft. It was not undercooked, and it was not overcooked, despite being steamed, I guess, in-house where they cook it, and then microwaved again a few days later. It tasted very fresh. The slaw was bright and acidic, and I really enjoyed it. It was a meal that made sense. It was cohesive in the items in the to-go box, or in the meal prep box, being together. So I really enjoyed that one. 4 on taste. Macros, it gets a 3.5. A little low in protein. I like to see closer to 10 grams of protein per 100 calories in any meal I'm eating. So this one clocking in at 28 grams of protein for 428 calories, just a touch on the low side, but altogether not bad. They have a different package you can get called the Beast package. This is the shred package, and that meal is 550 calories with, I believe, 59 grams of protein. So a better calorie to protein ratio on that one. The appearance, as I think I alluded to earlier, was good, a 4.2 out of 5. It looked fresh, it looked bright, it wasn't gross to look at, which I can't say the same for some of these other meals. They were downright depressing. We'll get into that in just a minute. Quality is incredible. I'll give you an example with the pomegranate chicken here. The only ingredients are antibiotic hormone-free grilled chicken tenderloin, pomegranate glaze, orzo, broccoli. That's it. They don't have anything in terms of preservatives. All the proteins are antibiotic and hormone free or grass fed for the red meats, of course. All the produce is organic, non-GMO. So for someone like me with a really sensitive gut who cares a lot about that stuff and responds to every little preservative and additive, this was really strong, and that's the case for all of the meals. So they get a 4.7 out of 5 for quality and ingredients. The first meal on the factor side was the cavatappi and pork ragu. This one was underwhelming. 510 calories, 23 protein, 44 carb, and 29 fat. Overall, it tasted okay. It was not bad. It looked okay. I'll put it on the screen as well. It looked fairly fresh, colorful. It didn't look dull or like a lunch food or airplane meal, as I alluded to earlier. It was just okay. So for a taste, it got a 3.7 out of 5 on my scale. Macros got a 3.5, so a little bit higher than Nutrition Solutions, clocking in at 23 grams of protein, 44 carb, and 29 fat. It's just about the same. It's a little lower than I'd like to see in protein, so in reality, it could score dead same as Nutrition Solutions. I would like to see that meal closer to 40 or even 50 grams of protein for that many calories, which you'll start to notice a trend in the factor meals and their protein content being low. Doesn't really make sense to me. I don't know who's the chef over there, but you need to step your game up a little bit in the protein department. On appearance, it got a 4. It actually looked, like I said, good. The broccoli looked bright, the tomato sauce was red and vibrant, and the noodles were whole wheat noodles, so they were sort of a dark brown. But for the airplane food container they come in, like as you can see here, they looked better than I thought they would when I took the plastic wrap off after heating them. Quality and ingredients, they get a 3.7 out of 5. And that's to say exactly what I feel, which is it's very middle of the pack. It's not as minimal, nearly as minimal as the Nutrition Solutions meals. And I believe I have a picture of the back of the label. You probably won't be able to see this, so I'll put the picture up as well. But the ingredients list is fairly long, and they do use some additives. I believe I may have seen a dye in here, but they use a lot of gums, xanthan gum, guar gum, carrageenan. There are some things that can potentially be irritants to people's gut microbiome, such as mine, which is very sensitive. For me, some of the oils they use and some of the gums they use, and the ingredient list being this long, is a little bit of a red flag for me, depending on what you value. That got, again, a 3.7 out of 5 for quality. Now, let's get into what I think might be one of the biggest companies I've ever tried from a meal prep perspective, and it underwhelmed the shit out of me. This is a sad excuse for meal prep, and I'll tell you why. This is Trifecta meals, and the first meal that I tried from Trifecta was the chicken mac with green beans and pasta, and I don't know if I have one handy. I don't, and I'm not mad about it either. It must have been pasta week at Trifecta. I don't really understand why that is, but regardless, let's get into my rankings for my least favorite meal prep of the 3. I'll go ahead and say now. Taste, this got a 2. You can see from the appearance, which I'm about to grade as well, it looks exactly how it tastes. The cheese sauce had no flavor. It tasted like it came from a bag. The chicken was just weird, and the noodles were mush after microwaving them. And I mean, as you can see here, the appearance of these meals is not the sexiest thing that you've ever seen. I mean, honestly, like, I would not want to eat that. That does not scream, eat me. But the mac and cheese was even worse. I mean, look, that looks like dog food. What the fuck, what is that? What are you guys doing? So for appearance for me, it gets a 1. Sorry, Trifecta, sue me. This is just my opinion. You can't. Quality, it gets a 2. Again, I told you guys the metric that I use for my quality is the minimalist ingredients added. Are they adding as few ingredients as possible? Trifecta probably comes in last for this. So I'll read you a couple of these ingredients. Chicken meat, tomatoes, guar gum, xanthan gum, tapioca starch, cognac gum, polysorbate 80, carrageenan, monodiglycerides. Why are these things in a meal prep? It's grilled chicken breast, pesto pasta. Why are all of those things? It should be pasta, cherry tomatoes, chicken breast, and pesto, which I think is just olive oil and maybe basil ground up. I can't remember. The point is, there's a lot of unnecessary things in this, and it is loaded with salt and doesn't taste very good. How do you make something this salty that tastes like it needs seasoning? I don't know. But overall, this first meal, the chicken mac with green beans and pasta, 480 calories, 43 protein, 48 carb, and 14 fat. It did do well on the macros. 4.5 out of 5, actually the best of the 3, because it had 43 grams of protein for 480 calories. So it's almost on par with the 10 calories per 100 grams of protein metric that I like to see in my meals and my bars and all the things I look for when I eat. I'm always seeking protein, and you should too. So highest score so far on the protein rating, lowest score quite literally everywhere else. It was awful. The second meal from Nutrition Solutions, was a banger. It was the honey barbecue chicken, and it was delicious. They absolutely nailed the grilled barbecue chicken tenderloin, which is very hard to do because chicken breast dries out quickly, and you can tell they actually grilled it. It has a char grilled flavor. There are black grill marks on the chicken tenderloins, and the barbecue sauce they used was very well flavored in my opinion. This meal clocks in at 330 calories, 37 grams of protein, 23 carb, and 10 grams of fat. It came with a little scoop of almost a cornbread dressing or stuffing, which was out of this world, not something I would have thought to eat with barbecue chicken, as well as some seasoned green beans. So it nails on macros. It's absolutely fantastic. It got a 4.3 out of 5 for me for being 37 G's of protein for 330 calories. That's actually slightly above the 10 grams of protein per 100 calories. But of course, I would like to see an extra portion of chicken in there if they could manage it. The taste was a 4.3 out of 5 for me. Again, it was my favorite meal that I tried out of all of these. I ate the entire thing, which was a mistake because it was my fourth meal out of 9 that I had to try. That was problematic. Appearance, it got a 4.4. It was bright, it was colorful, it looked fresh, and it just looked like real food that I had made shortly prior. It didn't look like a prepped meal that was packaged and shipped from Florida to my front door. It looked like real food, which is really, really important to me. You eat with your eyes first. Quality, again, it absolutely crushes it with the ingredients, clocking it at a 4.7 out of 5. It only had 5 ingredients, I believe. It was the grilled chicken, the stuffing, the green beans. I didn't label what was in the stuffing, so actually now that I think about it, I may drop that down to a 4 from a 4.5 or 4.7. But overall, it still had minimal ingredients. The barbecue sauce did not have a ton of added sugar. It didn't use any dyes or preservatives, and the green beans were organic, non-GMO. So crushing it on that still with the nutrition solutions. The second factor meal was sour cream and chive chicken with Yukon Gold mash and garlic broccoli. This one was a giant letdown. 390 calories, 16 grams of protein. Are you kidding me? 42 carb and 19 fat. That is abysmal. How are you making a 400 calorie meal and putting 16 grams of protein in it? I'm honestly convinced that might be a misprint because the piece of chicken had to be at least 4 ounces and that would be 25 grams of protein. So if they misprinted, that speaks to their lack of attention to detail. And that's a problem in and of itself. So this meal for me, actually, it was a letdown, but I didn't hate it. I would have finished it had I got a 3 out of 5. It was just okay. The macros, it gets a 1 for 16 grams of protein. What a joke. Unbelievable. For appearance, it got a 3.8. It didn't look bad. You can see in the picture here, or that I showed you earlier, it does look pretty good. It looks edible. The chicken looked grilled and didn't look like it was boiled in a bag and shipped to me. So overall, it was acceptable. Ingredients, same for all of these factor meals. I'm gonna spare you from talking through it again. They're all about the same. The ingredients list are just a little bit too long for me. The trifecta meal that I tried next, the second trifecta and 6th meal total, this got very challenging around this point, I was getting full, was the sweet chili beef and green beans with pasta, which I think I have, yeah, right here. This package of slop, that's what it looks like. Dreadful. This meal clocked in at 520 calories with a whopping 24 grams of protein, 52 grams of carbs, and 23 fat. Horrible calorie to protein ratio on this one. It gets a 1 on the macros and a 1 on the taste. I did not enjoy this whatsoever. Again, it must have been pasta week because it was the second straight dish with noodles in it. I didn't really understand the logic there, what you guys were going for, why you chose to make everything pasta. It's just weird, and we'll get to the variety in a minute. But the protein to calorie ratio is abysmal. So this meal should have at least 40 grams of protein in it and not 24. That's not even enough to trigger muscle protein synthesis. We need at least 30. At least that's what the research says. So step your game up on that trifecta. That is pretty much pathetic. Quality and ingredients, again, another 1 from trifecta. You guys are absolutely crushing it if terrible ratings was the definition of crushing it. So that was unpleasant. I ate 1 bite of each individual ingredient, spit the last bite out, and then went on to the next meal, which is where we finished off from Nutrition Solutions with the elk shepherd's pie. The ingredients on this were incredible. 378 calories, 33 grams of protein, 30 carb, and 14 fat. So a fairly balanced meal and a solid calorie to protein ratio. This meal got a 4 out of 5 for me on calories to protein and overall macros. It looks a little less appetizing, but the breakdown was great and the taste was great. So the appearance was just eh. The sweet potatoes were a little bit dull and a little bit acidic. It was strange, but I didn't mind it. And the dish, I mixed it all up and it tasted like you would want a shepherd's pie to taste when you mix up the beef and the potatoes and all of that, and it was good. I enjoyed it a lot. The ingredients, again, clean. They used grass-fed ground elk, which is always a plus. Grass-fed meat is generally a plus. The sweet potato being organic and non-GMO, as well as the diced, I believe, carrots and onions that they put in that meal were also organic and very, very good. I added a little bit of salt to this one. It needed a little bit of help, but that was all, and it elevated the whole dish, and it was a very cohesive meal that made sense. I understood the choices that they paired and why they paired the three items. So overall, that got about a 4 out of 5 from me. The last Factor meal we have is the roasted garlic chicken cream tortellini and broccoli. This was rough. I did not like this at all. 390 calories, another 16-gram protein meal, 42 carbs, and 19 fat. The texture of this meal was offensive. It was so bad, I spit it out. It tasted like I was eating a slug. It was slimy, it's really disappointing. And again, why are you serving me a 400-calorie meal with 16 grams of protein? I can go get a protein bar in my pantry for 200 calories and get a better calorie to protein ratio than that. I don't understand. But regardless, I ate 2 bites, and that was all I needed to know that it was not very good. So the taste for me got a 2.2, macros got a 1, appearance got a 3.5. It looked okay, and the ingredients, again, about a 3.5, as all Factor meals have gotten. The last Trifecta meal is the peri-peri turkey with pasta, again, another pasta dish, and broccoli. This meal clocks in at 530 calories, 48 protein, 49 carb, and 20 fat. The macros on this meal get a strong 4.1 because we've got 48 grams of protein for 530 calories. The taste on this meal is another strong 1. They really went 0 for 3. I mean, this is crap. I'm gonna be very honest. This meal prep service, Trifecta, is of course a step above the standard American diet, but overall, I would not spend my money on this. Like, I would not invest in this ever again. And I wouldn't if I were you, personally. This is my opinion, try it for yourself, but these are getting thrown away for sure. The Factor meals, they were okay. They would not be my first choice. I would say 2 of the 3 meals I had were edible. 1 was completely inedible. So rounding up in 3rd place, we of course have Trifecta. This is a far and away dead last with unfortunately the best protein, which it's hard to give this high of protein meals last place, but you were able to make it really terrible. So thanks for that. Factor comes in at 2nd with the taste and general enjoyment of the product. And rounding it up in 1st place is Nutrition Solutions. All of the meals were at least good. Now, it is a meal prep, it is microwaved. Of course, it's not going to be as good as cooking fresh in your home, but it did taste good, and it tasted fresh, and it tasted like food I could genuinely eat every single day. Now, that is on taste. Let's talk a little bit about the ordering experience as well as the cost and variety. These are some metrics that have nothing to do with the actual food themselves in terms of how it tastes, and everything to do with the product itself and the masterminds behind these Titan brands in the meal prep industry. It shows the base package for each company, and it's between 12 and 14 meals for all 3. So for Trifecta, their base offer is 12 meals. For Factor, it is also 12 meals, I believe. And it's 14 meals, excuse me. And for Nutrition Solutions, it is 12 meals as well. Trifecta comes in at 12 meals for $219, which is highway robbery, in my opinion. I thought these meals were terrible, and I would never pay $219 for 12 of them. Factor has a half-off deal running right now, where you can get 14 meals for $66, but I believe that's only on your first order. It looks like from the research that I did that it is normally $120 for 14 meals, and again, this is billed on a weekly basis. So they come in at the cheapest because Nutrition Solutions puts us in the middle at $140 per week with a 12-meal package, and that includes 10 entrees, as you saw all of these companies have, and 2 breakfast items, which is a standout that I didn't get from Factor meals. Nutrition Solutions gives you protein donuts, protein bars, and even has the options to add things like overnight oats into your deliveries every week. So you do get some breakfast options. Trifecta sent me some steamed or sous vide egg bites that were offensive. For me, the overall choice in a combination of value, quality, taste, freshness, and time savings is far and away Nutrition Solutions. This is the best of the 3, hands down. It's a no-brainer for me, and I hope that you have watched this video and found, or at least gotten closer to arriving at a decision, because there's so many companies out there, and a lot of great ones, I'm sure. And there are companies that I certainly missed and didn't get to try, but these are the 3 that I see the most, and you probably do too. And now, if you were on the fence about which company to go with, hopefully you're leaning towards a decision, and make it the right one and go with Nutrition Solutions and save yourself a lot of pain and bad taste in your mouth. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a comment, like the video, and subscribe to the channel if you found it helpful. I would appreciate it very much, and it really does help me out. Have a great day.